Hello and welcome to another Company of Heroes 3 game. My name is Fancy Josh, and today I've got a game for you between Sarg GX as our US, and his opponent today is going to be QOQ as our Wehrmacht. And, you know, it's occurred to me that for the last week or so, it's been all US Wehrmacht games, and I have not been doing that on purpose. I pretty much don't look at anything other than have I cast the players in a while. And sometimes I'll look for specific maps that I want to cast. But other than that, it's, you know, I'm not really looking for anything, and it just so happens that I've been casting a lot of US Wehrmacht. Not really sure why that is, but I think I will make a little bit more of an effort to try and cast some different games. I think, you know, my game yesterday was British versus Wehrmacht on a map I don't get to see very often, which is also why I chose that game. Well, I say chose, it was on the ladder, just like this one. So yeah. Anyway, ramble over. Thank you to all the new subscribers and commenters. Seriously, you guys make my day every day. And, you know, that might sound silly, but I do mean it. Alright, scouts are the opening for our US player, along with a weasel, so he's going to have a ton of capturing power right out of the gate here. Rifleman following up for that combat effectiveness. German player has gone for triple pioneer into heavy machine gun. I expect we're going to see potentially a grenadier here, and there it is. And we'll see what he wants to follow that up with. I have been liking the builds that have less grenadiers in them, especially in combination with the triple pioneer opening. I think it leads to a situation where you can have a lot of capturing power, a little bit of utility from those grenadiers, and not get bogged down with a mainline infantry that could be replaced by something better. But, yeah, we'll see how this game ends up playing out. Riflemen are on the field, not getting aggressive here. Both players seemingly content to control their fair share of the resources. And it's going to be an even game to start us off. More riflemen on the way. Let's see what our Wehrmacht player wants to do. Weasel's been upgraded with his light machine gun there. I'm going to push these units back. Pioneers may want to close the gap with those riflemen. Riflemen going to give up the position there. No need to get aggressive. Heavy machine gun. We do see the Terror battle group picked up here. And that heavy machine gun getting caught out in the open there a little bit. But Grenadiers and Pioneers nearby to support. So no harm done there. And we might see these Grenadiers reinforce this heavy machine gun. Yep, that is what's going to happen. So the heavy machine gun can stay on the field and the Grenadiers can go back to base if that's what they need to do. Heavy machine gun going to reposition, and it's going to be Panzer Grenadiers. So that's a little bit early, I would say. Typically, you'll see folks get triple, you know, they'll get 6 units out before going for the Panzer Grenadier, but does have the manpower for it, does have the fuel, so why not? I do expect we're going to see some Panzer Grenadiers called in straight away here. That's going to be pretty darn powerful. US player going for an early infantry support center, I would say as well. Typically you'll see folks go up for triple riflemen before the infantry support center. So I'm wondering if we're going to see him saving up for some special forces here. That's sort of what it feels like. Doesn't want to spend that early manpower on riflemen, wants to save up and get out some special forces. Is a little bit of ways away from that though. But not so far that it's going to be a disaster. Captain, of course, very good, so that'll do just fine. Otherwise, not retreating this unit to just get them reinforced. There he goes. Mines going down here. Some early mines to make his opponent's life annoying if he wants to go deep into his territory there. He's going to capture field defenses. Love to see it. And it's going to be an engineer next for a US, and I suspect we're going to see a motor pool close behind that. Typically, those engineers are a precursor to something like a motor pool. Pioneers didn't get to finish the full sandbag wall, but do have enough of a sandbag. Is that even done? I guess they are they're in partial heavy cover there. Grenadiers, Panzer Grenadiers going to show up to save the day, though. Rifleman gonna instantly bail out of the house. That's not a place they want to be. I'm gonna retreat there. Rifleman trying to give these Panzer Grenadiers space, but not gonna work out too well for him there. So, with the Terror Battle Group, I absolutely love Panzer Grenadiers. There's the can't remember the name of the ability. I'm going to check it here in just a second, right after we see this heavy machine gun force off those scouts. And let me take a quick look here. Contempt for the Weak. Contempt for the Weak with Panzer Grenadiers is just so fantastic, because they're constantly in 18 units of their opponents, because that's where they want to fight. That's where their optimal range is. So Panzer Grenadier is able to close the gap, force retreats, get the bonus, and then continue the bonus into the next squad, right? Now this is a little bit risky here, using his automatic fire ability on that unit. That's the Vet 1 ability. Lets them move slowly but kill good, and we saw that there. It is hard countered by grenades, though, so if you see your opponent using that ability on his Panzer Grenadiers, toss a grenade in the group and then retreat. It's going to force them to either eat the grenade or retreat themselves. Now, our German player did go for early Vet 1 on his... He got the early Panzer Grenadier officer quarters for Vet 1 on just a single unit. So the trade-off there, right, is he's spending resources on something that's not a fighting unit. But his Panzer Grenadiers are going to level up very quickly. But this Greyhound is going to be a problem, because he doesn't really have any anti-tank, just the snare from the Panzer Grenadiers. And it does take several snares to bring down a Greyhound. But it's going to be an AT gun next. I think that's a good decision. May have an inkling that this his opponent's going for a fast motor pool, because he hasn't seen... He saw an early captain, not too many riflemen. And just going to give that Greyhound some space here. I'm surprised we're not seeing this Greyhound get aggressive here. Of course, he doesn't know what's in the fog of war. But, you know, typically when you get your Greyhound out early, you're going to have a small window of opportunity where your opponent doesn't have a good answer for it. But of course, he doesn't know if there's mines, he doesn't know what's out there. So giving his opponent some respect there. Pioneers might go down here to this Weasel. Weasel can't chase too effectively because of the heavy cover, but the Pioneer's going to go down. And heavy machine gun just holding it down on this side. Pioneers, it's got plenty of vision in that area, so that heavy machine gun's relatively safe to just sit there and hang out. It's going to be a medical station for our US player, keep his units healthy. And more Panzer Grenadiers here on the way for our Wehrmacht player. Yeah, so with a build like this for our Wehrmacht player, I personally like Stugs in a build like this, especially with the Terror Battle Group. But if you take the stealth on the heavy machine guns, I think Stugs are slightly less good because they don't get that suppression ability, which I, of course, don't know the name of. Alright, fine, I'll look it up, guys, fine. Heavy gunnery. Yeah, so I like this heavy gunnery, but I know that not everyone does. The suppression damage is a little underwhelming, but it is still good. Panzer Grenadiers going everywhere with these Grenadiers, which is fantastic. Those Grenadiers can tank for the Panzer Grenadiers. They can reinforce the Panzer Grenadiers. It's just a nice little combination that makes them extremely effective. AT gun missing its first shot on the Greyhound. Greyhound going to have to back away, letting these Panzer Grenadiers do what they need to do for free. And we're going to see this AT gun attack ground here. Greyhound unafraid, though, continuing to get lucky. Lots of missed shots here. Rifleman actually focusing the AT gun. Heavy machine gun not going to be able to help out there. Scouts actually on the wings. We're seeing the automatic fire there from those Panzer Grenadiers. Doing some huge damage, but mines attempted there, not going to happen. Heavy machine gun being flanked by Weasel Scout combination, and is going to steal this fuel away. But both players just going to trade halves of the map here. Grab up some territory from each other. More mines coming down here from those Pioneers. Greyhound moving to help. AT gun not in position. Could see a snare potentially. More flares from those scouts. Love to see that. US player Just probing that fog of war safely with those flares. Grenadier's going to finish this capture, probably retreat there. Pioneer's in the circle there somehow. Capture that point. Panzer Grenadiers moving up. And a second pack on the field here. So, feels like we're going to see Tier 4 from our Wehrmacht player. I mean, he's got 1 million fuel. I think that could be pretty decent. Get a nice Sturmpanzer out. I think in combination with what he's currently got going, could be very, very strong. We do see commandos on the field. Or special forces for our US player. So, gonna have some nasty little all-rounder infantry. Both players just gonna trade halves of the map once again. Pioneers trying to escape here, but the Greyhound making that annoying. Should make it out okay. This player, you know, up until right this second, has been very careful with his units. Very lucky there's not a mine there. And yeah, our German player has picked up Contempt for the Weak, so anytime you're seeing a unit retreat nearby like that, these guys are going to get a combat bonus there. Panzer Grenadiers on the top side fighting the Weasel, going to win that fight. Riflemen in the area. Where are the commandos? Commandos there, fighting long range with the Panzer Grenadiers. And Engineers actually fighting those mines. Pack guns in position to deal with this Greyhound, though. A little bit close, unfortunately for him. Shooting the mine with the Greyhound. Greyhound using the house for cover there. That's super obnoxious. Here come the commandos. Getting in behind these suppressed Grenadiers. Now those AT guns are in jeopardy. Greyhound not going to find the mine there. And these are some dead AT guns. That's a freaking disaster. That is a disaster. Here comes some Grenadiers, though. As is using the canister shot, is going to find the mine. Commando's switching to bazookas here to destroy the AT gun. And should be able to get it there. More Pioneers coming. I hear a fight on the top side. Panzer Grenadiers holding it down against the Riflemen. And both AT guns going to be destroyed there. That is a major, major loss for a German player. Good news for him is he's going up to Panzer Command. And I think a Sturmpanzer is going to be really freaking good here. Is opting to add an AT gun instead of saving that manpower for a tank. But I guess he's a little bit off on the fuel, so that's fine. And a commanding map position for our US player, I would say, is going to grab up this guaranteed fuel. Grenadiers not responding to that. Panzer Grenadiers going to find this Greyhound, and this Greyhound has its run of the map. Pack gun on the field, though. And, you know, I keep saying Sturmpanzer, but I think the play might actually be Panzer IV to help him control the map against this Greyhound a little bit. And those Riflemen are going to grab away this fuel point. That's super annoying. And a grenade coming down on the Grenadiers. They do see it in time, though. Scooting away there. Panzer Grenadiers coming out. Greyhound just able to run the map here. The machine gun not stealthed here. Not in cover. It's going to be found by the scouts. And actually going to instantly retreat. Probably a good decision against that Greyhound. And a huge blob here. Going to keep our German in his base. Yeah, that was a really bad time to lose your AT guns, right? If you're like wanting to tech up, you definitely cannot afford to lose any units. And unfortunately for our German, did lose a whole bunch there. Surprised he's not focusing the heavy machine gun, but does need to fear this AT gun. AT gun should have a shot here. Grenade coming down on the pan. Oh man, and that's a dead Panzer Grenadier. Surely. No way he just lived. One more shot from the AT gun, not going to happen. And yeah, continues to be a commanding map position. More mines on the left side, but this time our US player is picking up some models there. Commandos with their LMGs holding it down here. And should have enough fuel for should have enough manpower here very shortly. Might need to stop reinforcing for just a moment. That's a risky spot to be as a grenadier. And he's going to get full reinforced by the grenadiers there. Heavy machine gun going to help. Actually forcing back those commandos, getting combat bonus from that. Actually, I don't think he was in range. Pioneer's trying to finish this capture, but going to be driven off by scouts. And has not paused. He has not paused his reinforcement. So despite having the fuel and being very close on manpower, he's still continuing to bleed manpower to these unfavorable fights coming out of his base. In a situation like this, my recommendation to you is to turn off your reinforcement, get that unit out that's going to be a tech advantage for you, and use it to push out of your base. Now, it almost feels like our German player's like, I don't know, it feels like he's wanting to save for a Tiger, but I think that's absolutely the wrong call. Like, that's the way it's playing to me, right? He's not using... He keeps using his manpower for reinforcements rather than an immediate tech up. And now our U.S. player is going to have a tank of his own. Finally, the Panzer IV called in here. So that's going to help a lot. But tank depot close behind for our U.S. player is going to be rough for our German to deal with. And we do see... He's got survival training and grenades, but no advanced logistics. I mean, he hasn't needed it. Right, he's just been trading extremely effective in the manpower department. Look at that infantry killed comparison for our two players there. Machine gun with a decent angle. Pack gun with it also a decent angle. Pioneers going down though. AT gun not going to connect on that final shot. Panzer IV about to hit the field. Grenades forcing these Panzer Grenadiers out of cover. Heavy machine guns suppressing everybody. And Panzer Grenadiers finally going to get out here. Grenadiers defending the point on the bottom side. Panzer IV hitting the scene there. AT gun not able to find that long range shot on the Greyhound there. And this Panzer IV is just what the doctor ordered. Going to get aggressive here. Does need the support of his infantry. Looks like he's hunting the Greyhound a little bit though, and he's going to find some side armor shots from those commandos and a AT grenade there. That is some rough stuff for our German. I'm back up to these Pioneers. Should get repaired up. Now these Panzer Grenadiers with a flamethrower. And I actually don't like flamethrowers on Panzer Grenadiers. I think their biggest strength is the fact that they can fire in advance fairly effectively. And in order to fire that flamethrower, they have to stand still. And that's typically not what I want from my Panzer Grenadiers. 100 points to go for our German player here. And fuel looking pretty good for our US player, so we're going to see a tank here. My guess is we're just going to see a regular Sherman. It could be that we see a bulldozer. Could be. I mean, high-level players tend to really like those bulldozers just for their tankiness. He does have some AT in the form of these commandos. And as we saw, the commandos can do pretty well against a Panzer IV. But German player is going to stop the bleeding here. There is a scout sneaking around the edges here. Going to retreat through a bad retreat path. Should make it out, though. As I say, that takes a huge shot from the Panzer IV. Flamethrower doing its thing, and I still think he's going to make it. It's going to be close, though. And as I say, that goes down. Nice pickup. That's important. Scouts, I mean, we've seen our U.S. player using the scouts to great effect this entire game. These flares revealing everything in the fog of war. Smoke going to get popped here. Heavy machine gun might have an angle there, but is going to reposition. Pack gun also moving. Panzer IV ready to help. Missing its first shot, taking out that wagon. And commandos doing huge damage. Panzer IV not responding here, and this is a bad fight. That's a dead Panzer IV. Yeah, must have had his attention elsewhere. And surely that's going to be all she wrote here for our German player. Yeah. I'm trying to think about what our German player could have done differently. Because I mean, we saw the weakness of AT guns, right? Which is they can't get close to their opponent. They can't. They're more about area denial than they are about, um, pushing a unit away. So when those scout cars are when the greyhounds are hiding behind houses, it can be a really tough situation to deal with. And getting impatient and pushing forward is not the play. And if we had seen, our German player turn off his reinforcement, if he'd kept the AT guns alive, if he turned off his reinforcements, gotten those high-tech tanks out that he was very, very close to getting out, I think there was definitely a big window of opportunity to use those high-tech units to win some ground back. But that's okay. I think it's a good learning experience for everybody. And I hope you guys enjoyed this game, and I'll see you in the next one.